Now here you see, today we are dealing with biodiversity. Okay, biodiversity, we are dealing with patterns of biodiversity. Basically, what is patterns of biodiversity? Patterns of biodiversity deals with the pattern of distribution of species. Okay, now here we will be dealing with the two patterns. One is the latitudinal gradient. What is latitudinal gradient? Distribution of organism or species from the equator towards the pole. So the theory says that the species diversity decreases. You see, the species diversity decreases as we move away from the equator towards the pole. So here you can see this graph, bar graph, histogram. So here you see the maximum distribution is at the equator. Then you have the tropics, then the temperate, then the frigid, and here is at the pole. That means what? The maximum population of species you find both in the equator and the tropical zone. Now, you might be asking that what is the reason? Now, reason of maximum species distribution here, it depends on the geographical condition and the factors of geographical variables. Geographical variance means that rainfall, temperature, okay, then another thing, calamities like flood, landslides, like that. So if we consider the condition, if we consider beyond the temperate zone, we see frequent glaciation, continental drifts, floods. So that means this is an adverse environmental condition. Generally the temperature is very, very low, -40. That is the average temperature here at the poles. So these are the conditions that do not favor the species to exist over here. The conditions are very harsh. Only very few, very few. For example, seals you have, the polar bears are there. Okay, now few penguins here. So these are the few organisms, reindeers, okay, mink deer, the huskies. These are the only few species that can survive in these adverse conditions. Otherwise you don't find them. And if you consider to be as a vegetation over here, mainly you find the lichens, few mosses, bryophytes, that's it. But if you consider here at the tropical level or the equatorial level, see, equator and tropic together contributes to the 70% of the vascular plants found on the earth. 70% of the vascular plants are found over here. Now, you see, the tropical rainforest of the Arizona has the largest species density, both of the flora and the fauna. Okay. Now, this I had told you earlier. See, speciation is a general function of time. Okay. If time, that is one function of time, that means in the time is untouched, that means no change happens within that particular time. So speciation is stable. For example, temperate region is subjected to frequent glaciation and the tropics are very stable, hence the concentration of species are more in this zone. If we consider the tropical zone here, now tropical zone, that means 0 to 8 degree north and south of the equator. So we have this zone to be very, very stable. See, temperature, high humidity and the sunshine. We don't have a seasons also in the equator. So that is the reason this area, plenty of sunshine is there, plenty of forest, plenty of water is there, temperature nearly remains the same throughout the year. So obviously the rich fauna is quite natural. Plants will be there. So if plants are there, obviously we'll have the animals surviving on these plants for support or for food will be here. So generally the largest forest areas, the largest biomes rather, you can see, we find it here. See, Africa lies in the equatorial zone. Africa is known to be a natural zoo because all the animals are there. So these are the things. Now hence the you see the second one, we have the species area relationship. So this species area relationship is shown by an equation that was coined by Alexander von Humboldt. He was a German geographer and a naturalist. Now he said that within a region, the richness increases more and more as the area is explored. The more and more you explore the area, the richness of the species will increase. So if we take the species relationship to be on the y-axis and area on the x-axis, so we get a rectangular hyperbola. See, this rectangular hyperbola depicted by the equation S is equal to CAZ. Now, what is S? S is a species richness, A is the area, Z is supposed to be the regression coefficient. Okay, and C is equal to y intercept. So, if we take the logarithm of this, we get a straight line here. That this logarithm, it proves that species relationship and area, they are directly proportional. If larger the area and it is explored, the species richness of the species will increase, and it is denoted by C. Log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Area and C is the log C is equal to y intercept. So this was given. Now what is the importance? Now we are coming to the next topic, that what is the importance of species diversity within an ecosystem. So what is the importance of species diversity? Now if we see communities, see, it gives species diversity, gives stability. Communities with more species shows more stability than community with less species. Okay, so the community is more stable. Then stable communities show very less variation. Okay, less variation, less productivity, and it is also resistant to alien invasion. Now, what is alien invasion? I'll give you an example. See, if we take a community of 100 monkeys. Okay, 100 monkeys are there and one single tiger. Tiger is supposed to be an alien and it wants to invade the community of the monkeys. So, since the community has got a large number of species, these alien will not be able to fight such a large community. So, obviously, only very few members will be injured or killed, but this alien will be easily defeated. So, that is why this community is very stable and show very less variation. So, the richer the diversity, the more the number of communities you have, it is essential for the ecological health. Ecological health is a close community where the living and the non-living, they peacefully coexist in a closed system and the stability increases. Now, we have to take a contravention. What is contravention? The negative effect of one is species diversity and another last one is loss of biodiversity. The loss of biodiversity means it is a decline in plant population and the animal population, lower resistance. Now, how does this decline happens? See, ecological factor is very much essential, so we consider to be as an environmental factor. So, lower resistance to environmental perturbance. That means what? Very less adjustment, very less resistance to environmental changes. For example, sudden landslide, sudden flood, sudden glaciation, which we had done in the earlier part also. You see, it is subject to glaciation. So that is environmental perturbation, environmental changes or environmental hazards. So or another way, increase variability to certain ecological process. What is increases the variability? For example, the temperature is one of the variable of an ecosystem, so that may change. Okay, then other parameters, humidity, water, then species. If one particular group of community, one particular community of species increases number, the other will decrease. So whenever there is a loss, there will be an increase also. That is also another thing. And for example, another thing is if a disease outbreaks or if a pest cycle is there, okay, water shortage or excess water, these are also one of the factors that will lead to loss of biodiversity. And another cause, apart from environmental cause, this loss of biodiversity causes extinction of species. So this extinction of species may be either environmental or human activity or interference of human beings to nature and natural entity may also cause the loss of biodiversity. Clear? So So what we were doing, we were dealing with patterns of biodiversity. Now we had two patterns, the latitudinal gradation and species area relationship. Then we had dealt with the relationship of species density along with the ecosystem. So what is the positivity of a rich, dense, diverse ecosystem? Okay, and then what was loss of diversity? So loss of biodiversity, in other words, leads to the shrinkage or instability within the ecosystem.